Here I'm going to show you how to make a UI for a calculator using Xcode. The way I'm going about doing this is by dividing the screen into two views, one for the numeric display and the other for the numeric pad. So let's go about and start the UI by selecting the UI view option from the objects. I'm going to place the UI view somewhere over the screen and then constrain it to the top of the screen area. Now I'm going to constrain this view to the top of the safe area view. No. Now I'm going to set the height of the view as equal to the safe area view and then constrain this view to the top of the safe area view by selecting the constraints menu pane option and selecting the distance as 0. And I'll set the constraints, and here you go, you have the display view. So right now the display view is equal to the safe area of the view, but we just need it to be in the top of the screen, half of the screen. You do that by selecting the view and then selecting the equal height to safe area option and setting the proportionality as 0.25 so that it's just 25% of the total safe area of the view. You can have a clear idea by setting the background to a different color. I often do that when I'm using multiple views so that it gives me a better idea of where the view is and how the view is present. Now for the bottom half of the screen, I'm going to do the same by selecting the UI view from the objects library, placing it somewhere on the screen. And now I'm going to constrain this view to the bottom half of the screen. You do that by selecting the view option and then going to the constraints bin option. Set the bottom distance as 0, set the leading and the trailing spaces as 0. Ensure that the constraints are set to the safe area and not the view. Now you add the constraints and then make the height of the view as equal to the safe area of the view and set the multiplier as 0.75. So here it is. Now that you've got the two halves of the screen all set up, I'm just going to go about and put the display on the top half of the screen. You do that by just going to the objects library, selecting the label, and you use the guidelines which appear on the screen and place it somewhere along the top corner of the screen. Now you select the label option and again set the constraints to it. Let's just say that it's always present at a distance of 5 from the bottom view, which would be the numeric pad. And then let's put the trailing and the leading spaces as 0, 0. Now we add the constraints. This kind of looks small, so let's just increase the height of the view to say 75. Let's give it as a right align and set the text size as 40 so that it's kind of visible. Let me put in a number, 1,000, 10,000 maybe. So this is how your number is going to appear whenever you select anything in the numeric pad. So now we are going to do the numeric pad of the calculator. The way in which we are going to do this is to create a vertical stack view. We do that by going to the objects library, selecting vertical stack view, placing it over here, and then we're going to constrain it again to the whole view. So go to the stack view over here and then go to the constraints bin option, set all the 4 constraints as 0, add 4 constraints, and now you're going to add another stack view into this vertical stack view, which is the horizontal stack view. Another thing which you need to do is to just go to the vertical stack view and then set the distribution as fill equally. Similarly for the horizontal stack view, set the distribution as fill equally. And now you need to go about and create the buttons. You do that again by going to the objects menu, selecting selecting a button and then placing it over here. Uh, an easy way of just placing buttons is to just go copy the button over here and then place it over there so that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons horizontally, and then select the horizontal stack view option. Sorry. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. You need to go to the last stack view over here. Just delete one of the buttons. Delete. And then set the whole stack view to fill proportionally because the last one has only 3 buttons over here. Let's just say this button is equal to and then make this one as a decimal and this one would be 0. So now you go and select the decimal point button, hold control and then drag it from over the button to the equal to and then set it as equal widths. Similarly, select the 0, drag it to the decimal, equal widths. With the 0 button selected, go to the equal width option. So here it says that 0 is of the same size as that of the decimal, but it should be twice. So you set the multiplier as 2, and here you go. You just go ahead now and replace all the buttons with the actual values which is present in the calculator. For purposes of the video, I'm just going to fast forward it. So this is how the final output of the calculator looks like with all the backgrounds and the text changed. One thing which you need to do at the end is to just go and select the stack view and then increase the spacing to 1 over here. Go to each and every stack view and increasing the spacing to 1 over here so that you'll be able to see the buttons individually. Just gives you kind of like a clear separation between the buttons. Go over here, and here you go. So right now you have the basic layout of the normal calculator which you would see at the iPhone. Similarly, you need to go ahead and design the scientific calculator. For the purposes of designing this scientific calculator, one of the things which I do is I just go ahead and select this view and then kind of like uninstall it. So it just is kind of like hidden over there and it doesn't create any trouble to you. Just go over here. Go to the objects menu. Similarly, create another view and then go about UI view and then go about creating the scientific calculator. A cool trick which I use to design the scientific calculator is to just go to the view over here and I kind of like uninstall this view so that right now you just have a blank view. You then go to the view iPhone option over here and change the orientation to portrait, to landscape from portrait. And now you could go about and start creating the view for your scientific calculator. It's something similar to this. It's something similar to what you've done for the normal calculator. So for purposes of this video, I'm just going to skip ahead and then go to the end. So this is how the completed scientific calculator looks like. Now that you have both the scientific and the normal calculator, you need to ensure that just one view of the calculator is present based on the orientation. One method of doing it is by writing a program in Xcode, but I kind of use another cool trick to ensure that the orientation, the scientific calculator is present in the landscape orientation and the normal calculator is present in the portrait orientation. The way in which I do it is by going to the view and then using the hidden option over here. I just go ahead and introduce a variation based on the height and the width. So as you can see in this orientation, the iPhone is of a regular width and compact height. So I give a condition saying that if the width is compact and the height is regular, which is the opposite of it, which would be present in the portrait mode, you kind of like hide this view over here. So select this compact width, regular height, and any gamma. Just add this variation over here and then ensure that it's hidden. I kind of like have the conditions done already. Similarly, do the same for the portrait view too. I'm just going to have this installed and this uninstalled. So this is the one for the normal calculator. I'll have this installed and I'll uninstall this.